How well do you know your spouse? Tonight, you'll meet a woman who thought she knew the answer to that question. When we tell you what her husband did, you'll wonder how he could have carried on such a double life. Truthfully, this interview got to me. But this brave woman wants her story told so that no one else has to live with a lie.
July 20th, 2002. It was the happiest day of this young bride's life. She married the man of her dreams, a fellow educator, a good man who knew how to make her laugh.
He had a very funny sense of humor. I fell in love with his eyes, and he was just such a gentleman to me.
Christine and Bob Cowan were just like any other couple. They bought a home, had friends, traveled. They wanted to start a family. But Christine's world was about to come crashing down.
Did you ever feel like he was keeping secrets or something from you?
No.
Her dreams of happily ever after were shattered irrevocably on August 18th, 2009.
The day he got arrested.
So you were happily married until the day he was arrested?
Happily married, expecting.
12 weeks pregnant, Christine learned her husband had been arrested for downloading child pornography.
That day was a blur. I remember being at work and the detective breaking the news to me. And there was a part of me sitting there thinking, this is some sick joke. This has got to be a sick joke. But then I was like, I don't know. I was just devastated.
This middle school guidance counselor and former primary school principal had images and videos of children being raped on his laptop computer. It took 3 months before Christine could face her husband through the jailhouse glass.
When I went and saw him after Thanksgiving, he said to me, he said, I love you. And I looked at him like, I can't say that to you. I don't know who you are. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in here. And I said, I pray every day you do.
In October, Bob Cowan stood trial here in the federal courthouse. Our cameras weren't allowed inside, but I was there when he took the stand in his own defense. Cowan insisted that he had downloaded the images and videos by mistake, but prosecutors had a damning piece of evidence, a simple Word document that contained a kind of secret code. Special internet search words that could only lead to one thing. The jury convicted Bob Cowan on 7 counts. Today, Christine relives every moment of their marriage in her mind, replaying events, looking for clues that could have revealed the monster she married.
Have you ever asked yourself, gosh, did I miss some signs? Or, I mean, now thinking back over...
All the time.
Yeah.
I deal with guilt constantly. Is there something I missed? Why didn't I see it? You know, but I realized there's nothing I could have seen. You know, you trust the person you marry.
Now this young single mom is left to build her life alone, burdened with a single question: who is the real Bob Cowan?
There are times that I do miss the man that I thought I married, but that's not who he is. I don't know if he was portraying a man that he thought I wanted. If he was playing a role, I don't know. I wonder now.
Christine has since divorced her husband, and I've learned that Robert Cowan has written letters to the judge asking that his conviction be thrown out. His attorney tells me that tomorrow he will ask the court to be removed as Bob Cowan's attorney. So Cowan will likely be represented by someone else at his January sentencing. And when he does face the judge, he faces more than 100 years in prison.
And I couldn't help but thinking, how do you go on after experiencing something like this? But she is. And she's got kids too, but it can't be easy.
No, it's every day, she says, is a struggle, but you hear the strength in her voice. She tells me she has to go on. I mean, she went from a double income family to a single income family. She has faced losing her home. For the sake of her children, she has to go on. She has to get through this. And it was difficult in the interview when she talked about feeling guilty about how she could have missed something, how she didn't see the signs. But she says there were no signs. So she's just a very strong woman who has to go on now.
And you and I have talked a little bit about this story, and her former husband has worked in a number of schools in Duval County and even Nassau County.
The prosecutor made mention of that during the trial. In my notes, he listed the many schools, elementary schools, middle schools. He was an assistant principal, a principal, an assistant principal, and then a guidance counselor. He seemed to go up and down in the ladder, and these are primary and elementary schools all over the area. None of the charges he was convicted on have to do with any of his students or former students, but it's definitely for parents who knew him, it's frightening. We want to also share, there's information on how to report a crime involving a child, and there's also resources out there for the victims. Just go to actionnewsjax.com and click on Action Reports.